And England have named their squad for the multi-format Women's Ashes, which you'll hear in full on 5 Live Sports Extra from Wednesday, January the 26th. The series begins with a test in Canberra as England attempt to win the Ashes for the first time since 2014. Southern Vipers off-spinner Charlie Dean is among the 17 players named in the squad, but England are also taking 12 players as part of an A squad who could be added to the main party, and that includes the likes of Alice Capsey, who scored a 50 at Lords at the age of 16, and exciting bowlers Lauren Bell and Izzy Wong. England captain Heather Knight has been telling our reporter Stefan Schemmelt how impressed she is with the strength in depth in the women's game.
I think selection has actually become harder the last year or so. There seems like there's more people in contention, which is a really good place to be. The meetings seem to last a little bit longer each time, but I guess picking 17, it's obviously a bigger squad than you usually would pick. So that made things a little bit easier. A good chance for those A players as well to see where they're at compared to the England girls. So yeah, it's great. I think it would give us good preparation as well. I think the last Ashes series we didn't have the best preparation with rain and not as strong warm-up teams as we probably would have liked. So it gives us the option to control that a little bit more, hopefully, and give us the best prep leading into it.
What are you expecting from the tour from a practical sense? Inevitably, that means COVID. When we've just seen Pat Cummins ruled out of the second test for something as simple as going out for dinner, how does that make you feel? Is there a nervousness around that? Not just when you're out in Australia, but also in the build-up to leaving on January the 7th?
Maybe. I think we've got really good at controlling what we can control. I think we're so used to it. Things have changed so many times. You can't really set your mind to one thing because it might change again. So you have to have that adaptability. And I think we can use that to our advantage if things do change, because we've experienced that quite a lot in our summer, and potentially the Australians haven't as much. I know they've lived in bubbles and things, but I think we've had more days in bubbles and having to adapt to quarantines and various things. So yeah, we're used to it. It's something we can't worry too much about. It can't take away too much of our focus. Obviously, there is going to be anxiety there. If you do get it, there's bound to naturally be a bit of worry there. I think there'll be a bit of a sigh of relief, hopefully, when we do all make it on the plane. But yeah, we've just got to try and be as risk averse as we can without going crazy, because we're going to be away for 3 months from families. There's at the moment not options for families to come. There's options for partners, but not for everyone's families and stuff. So obviously everyone wants to be able to spend a bit of time at Christmas with family members and stuff. But yeah, we'll be putting a few measures to try and mitigate the risk as possible.
Can you just clarify that situation around partners? Because obviously there was a lot of discussion around the men's Ashes tour over if they could get family members out to Australia with them. What is the situation with you guys, especially as you say it's a 3-month trip potentially for some people with the Ashes and the World Cup?
Well, I can't tell you 100% yet because we don't fully know. But signs are pretty good. Cricket Australia have said that we'll get exactly the same provisions as the guys do. But I guess with the government, things can change quite quickly. My partner's actually quit his job to come on the 3-month trip. So yeah, it won't go down particularly well if he can't make the trip out. We have to get another job. But yeah, we're pretty hopeful. I haven't heard anything different. I don't think we'll know for definite until very close to the time and until those visas and exemptions have come in. So yeah, fingers crossed. I haven't heard that they can't come yet. So hopeful that will be the case.
And quitting jobs aside, how important is it from a personal point of view from you, as someone who's obviously going to be in quite an intense situation on the field? How important is it to have that support maybe away from cricket?
Yeah, really important. And obviously the last couple of years we've spent a lot of time away from loved ones. So being able to have that is going to be really important for me. And I'm one of the lucky ones. There's not the option for everyone. Some players' partners are teachers and aren't able to come out or can't for various reasons. So if they are able to, I'm certainly one of the lucky ones. But yeah, it's going to be a long old trip, and we've had a lot of time away from family and the negative side of the job, I guess, sometimes. And obviously with COVID, it adds another complication. But I think how tight we are as a side, how close-knit we are, we know, I think, how to try and pull other team members through. And it's not just us, it's the staff as well. You've got to remember that they're away for a long time from their families and things like that. So the ECB have actually been doing as much as they can. They've been really great in trying to make things as good as possible for the players and staff, which is definitely appreciated. But sometimes it isn't always the case that you can have that support. So it's important that we make sure we're looking after all the players whilst we are as well.
If you were to look at purely results, you could make a case for the Australia women being the strongest international sports team in the world at the moment. How are you going to go about beating them? Yeah,
no doubt there's a very good side. I think we're just going to have to be super brave. We're going to have to go out there and fight fire with fire a little bit. And I genuinely believe we've got a really good chance. We've got world-class players, and we've worked a lot on our mentality, and we're going to have to start really well. I think that's something we didn't do in 2019. We didn't win those key battles early, which meant we're on the back foot a little bit, and then things didn't go away quite drastically. So I think starting well, and I think the preparation hopefully that we're going to have tied out there hopefully put us in a good position to be there. But we need players to step up and go and perform, and we need it to be a team effort as well, and a squad effort, because like you say, it's a long old trip. But I think the main thing is being brave and being bold and taking the game to them and focusing on how we're going to be the best side that we can be. So I believe that's going to be good enough to win if we play at our full potential.
You just said you've done some work on mentality. What is that work, and why did you feel that was necessary?
Yeah, I think after that Ashes at home, I felt we needed a little bit more support, I think, and some of the girls need to take a little bit more ownership and have a few more leaders in the team. And the girls have responded really well to that, I think. Nat Siv has been outstanding. She's obviously stepped up to that vice captain role, and she's a real leader in the team. And other players like Tammy Beaumont and lots of people have stepped up. And I think we felt like we wanted to take more ownership as a side following that as well. We wanted to be more responsible for how we do our training, how we go and perform, something that I think's led us to be a bit more adaptable and a bit more savvy when it comes to different situations in games. We talk about it quite often, how we want to approach the mental side of stuff, particularly in the red ball, because that is obviously quite different to how you approach white ball. And I think a lot of it's in your head, because you're just not used to playing that format of cricket. So we've done a lot of work towards that, and obviously we can be successful in that test match. That's going to put us on a great standing to go well. Hopefully not another draw. I wouldn't mind another day, but there we go. Hopefully we can force a result this time.
Well, I was going to ask you that later on, actually. The last 4 women's test matches across the globe have been drawn. I think you've taken to Twitter and said in the past that you'd like to see 5-day test matches. Should this Ashes test be 5 days long?
Well, it's not going to change. So anything I say isn't going to do that. But yeah, my opinion hasn't changed on that. I think because we play test matches so rarely, I think an extra day to try and get a result will only be a good thing for the women's game. I think, because like you say, there's been a lot of draws. There's been some weather in there that have affected it. So if you lose a day to weather, that's the one test match that you've got the opportunity to show off the women's red ball format that you kind of lost. And I've felt like a few of the games that we have played have been set up quite nicely for an extra day, and have pitted out a little bit and robbed the viewer of a Grand Slam finish. And I think that's what you need in women's test matches. You need it to be exciting, because naturally when things are a little bit attritional, everyone jumps on the bandwagon of should women be playing test, should this be happening. So I think the more opportunities as administrators to make it more exciting and play out those Grand Slam finishes, the better it would be. But it's 4 days. We've got 4 days. It won't be changed to 5. So that's what we're set up for and what we're prepared for.
With it being 4 days, has it crossed your mind that it might be up to you as a captain to get creative and be brave and set up a game and maybe risk losing it in order to have the chance of winning it?
Yeah, potentially. I've obviously talked about being brave and bold, and I have to back that up with what I do. But obviously it's reading the situations when we're out there. If we have the opportunity to try and force the win, you do. But obviously it's easy to say that from the commentary box when you haven't got anything to lose. When you do, when you're out there, and if you lose those 4 points, it puts you in a obviously pretty tricky situation. So yeah, look, we're going to go into it trying to win, but it'll be hard to take overdue risks to try and force a result if that's not what we're in a position to do. Obviously, we want to be in a position to do, and we're preparing to try and do that. But yeah, we'll see, and hopefully we get the opportunity to try and make it a spectacle and obviously get those 4 points, because what a start that would be. Uniquely
in 2022, there's a chance to win a treble.
Yes, there is.
And how do you feel about that? And that must be the goal, mustn't it? To come away with 3 trophies.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think we've got to focus on what we've got first and foremost. But that's what you want to do as a cricketer: win trophies, create memories, and be successful. So, what an opportunity! Like you say, a couple of bilateral series in there as well. Don't forget those. So, an exciting year one. That's going to be one of the biggest for us as cricketers. Seem to say that every year, seems to get bigger every year. But yeah, the opportunity to compete in a Commonwealth Games is quite a unique one as well, and one that is probably pushing a few players to carry on maybe a bit longer. So yeah, it's an exciting one, and I think making sure we don't look too far ahead also is going to be key to having that success, hopefully.